This one, however, exploded off of there. My neighbors are going to be probably pissed off that I'm breaking out the saw at 6:30 in the morning. So here we are with this pain in the ass cable again. So I was just beating this thing with a hammer. Alright, it is Monday, now officially start of van week, I guess. So my arms are still just killing me from this weekend working on all this. So for right now I'm going to start working on some less intense stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get the painting done on here. Yesterday I did some more sealant up along these spots and this one, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I need to touch anything else up, as well as checking some more sealant on the outside for the windows. I still have to check under there, see how that's doing, because I think we did get rain either last night or this morning. So I'm going to check to see what it's looking like under there. And then also I'm going to work on some of the hooks. I'm going to start, on this side with the hooks. And once that paint is doing some drying, I can go ahead and do this side. And yeah, and then we'll see how I'm feeling then as far as picking up wood and start working on all this fun stuff over here. Alright, so this whole zone is painted now. I went ahead with the sealant and touched up the inside stuff here a little bit, as well as the windows. I checked under there and it doesn't seem like there's been any more water getting there as far as I can tell. So I must have just spilled something at some point and it went back there. So that's good news, but even if there is, I went ahead and touched up the whole outside areas of the windows, so that should be definitely all sealed up there now. So now I'm going to go ahead and start messing around with the hooks and bungees and all that fun stuff. So although these boards, at least some of them, I don't know if it's because of the stain on it, or if it's because it's been more humid, if the wood has expanded. But I was having trouble fitting some of the pieces in here, so I might need to actually sand down the edges on some, or maybe all of them, before I really bother doing that, because I need to make sure it's going to fit not just here, but also fit in between the edges here, the little thingies. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fit them in there that way or not, just so that way I can get the hooks going. If I can't even fit them in there that way, then I'm going to have to take them outside and sand them, and then I guess I can work on the hooks, and then at some point I'll have to stain whatever gets messed up from sanding it. Okay, so the top ones here on this side are in. This one I ended up drilling and hitting one of those blank spots, so I had to move it. So I'm going to end up putting some wood putty on there, and that'll be on the list of things to touch up with the paint, along with all the scratches on here and the paint spots I need to stain over and all that fun stuff. This side was, where is it? There it is. Once I got it in the metal, the drill, it was actually really tough to get this in there, because I have to just turn this by hand. I had to just keep going up in sizes with the drill, and I finally got it in there. It was a pain in the ass. The other side is just into wood, so it's fine, but I didn't trust it being just in this thin wood. The other side goes into the wall, and then the stud thing is right behind it, so that one's definitely secure, and this one does go into the metal. Just took a lot of work to get it in there. So yeah, so that's all in there. I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom ones in there. It's already pretty secure, but I figure if I have one going to toss to the top and bottom, it can't fall down that way, and it can't slide out that way. It's blocked by these hinges anyway, but I figure why not, just in case you hit a bump in the road or something, might as well just have it all nice and secure there. So I'm going to do that, and the other side is probably still drying, so I'm not going to mess with that quite yet, I don't think. And then I'll figure out what I'm going to do after that. Okay, so that one is in there. It's only in the plywood though, because just the way that's just how it ended up, because this is the wood that's angled. So up here I was able to get it close enough to hit the stud back there, whereas that one sticks out too far, so I can't do that. This one over here, it's in there, and it's in the metal. I had to drill through the metal to get in there, but it's all wobbly, and I don't know why. I can just keep turning it and turning it forever. Doesn't really tighten it at all, which is really weird, because that one was super tough to get in there, and now this one I use the same size bit, and it's too easily in there. It's just wobbling all over. So I don't know. I'm gonna see. It doesn't seem to be able to pull out. It's just real wobbly. So I'm gonna see how both of these work once I get the actual bungee on there. If there's any issues, and then as long as they both hold and are good, I might throw a little bit of like wood glue on here or something just to help stabilize it, so it's not, because I mean it still seems functional. Like it's not ready to completely come out of the wall or anything, but it definitely is weird. Okay, so it's holding it, but I don't like either of these hooks. So that one actually spun down. I had them turn it back up so it matches that one. And then that one, when I put the hook on, it actually kind of like pulls the hook over a little bit, whereas this one is like super stable because it's in that 2x4 or whatever the hell size that wood is back there, 2 by something, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm not a fan of either of these. I'm not sure where else I would put the hooks around here, other than like maybe moving that one onto this piece somewhere, which I don't really want to do, but I don't know. Maybe that would be the best bet, because that's going to be more stable than that super thin plywood that's on there. So I might end up doing that. So I mean, you can see the angle on that, that's just getting pulled over like more and more. So that might end up being where it goes, just somewhere on here, like in the corner. The only thing is it has to be far out enough from the corner that I can spin it. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do though, because there's really nowhere else to put this. You can see right there, you can see where that stud is, and it comes down, and I think it ends like right on the other side of, you know, here. So up there, with this angle of this piece, I was lucky enough to get it hooked right in there. But here, this wood is just blocking it, so I can't do that. I think it's just looking worse by like the second that's gonna end up ripping out of there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just disconnect that. Yeah, that's not gonna work out. So I'm gonna move that somewhere else. Okay, so that is looking a lot better over here now. This one doesn't seem to have any bend in it or anything. I am gonna go ahead and throw some kind of wood glue over here, because this one still wants to just turn on its own and move all over. And then I'm also going to put that putty stuff in all the random holes that I have created, and yeah, and then I'll just let all that dry there. But it's looking good here so far. Just going to realign those there. There we go. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to get that all puttied and glued, and then let's see what the hell I'm doing next. Okay, so I'm going to start working on this side with the hooks and all that. The only issue is the van is slightly leaning in the direction where this wants to just fall down. So I have to just keep holding this up. So yeah, I think I'm just going to basically figure out where they all kind of belong, the hooks, and then move these in a better position, and then put those hooks in. On both sides. This side's worse than the other one, but this stupid wiring that they have sticking out of the wall for God knows what reason is just in the way. The other side I kind of worked on it, pushed it forward, and there's not that stupid black tubing in the way, whereas this one, even if I get that thing out of the way, it's still going to be smashing against that thing. I don't know why they have that just sticking out here like that, but that's how they did it. So that's pretty much as far over as I can get this piece, unfortunately. So yeah, so this side has a little bit like an overlap here as a result, which is fine. Once I get those hooks and all that in there, it's just going to hold it all up here anyway, so it's not really a big deal. So like I said, I'm going to grab those hooks, make some marks on the wall as far as where I think I want to put those, and hopefully everything goes well and the hooks actually work out. Okay, so I was just getting ready to film to show this one. You can see the hook on there. This one, however, exploded off of there and flew all the way over there. I'm guessing because it's so far back here, because the way the wall ends here and the board's up against there, and that way that hook was connected to the hook on the bungee, trying to go around this. So yeah, it was in the metal, but it was kind of loose, like that bottom one that was over there. So I guess it was just too much pressure coming at that awkward angle around that corner, and it ended up just slingshotting the hell out of there. So I'm gonna go ahead and have to figure out what the hell I'm doing about this. But they were looking good for a second there. It was holding up here, but now I got to figure out how I'm gonna fix this. Okay, so what I did for this one, I made a new hole one size down in the drill bit sizes, which for the other side wouldn't work. It just kept getting stuck. With this one, I managed to actually work, and it's in there. I can't push this all the way over because then it starts pushing up on this black piece, and then I don't know, it just pushes this side in more and pops this side out more. So I just have it slid over a little bit, and then that way it sits there better. I might end up flipping it and seeing if it, because then the angle will be, the bigger side down here, and then the smaller side up there. I'll see how that works. Obviously it won't fit right down here. It'll be too much wood to fit side by side, because there already is. But I don't know, maybe it'll look better up here. Okay, so that actually looks pretty good. It goes all the way up to the edge here now, but stays off of the black piece there, so it all sits nicely. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the one going along the bottom here, and that will finish up all this bungee hook business. And yeah, and then I think I might go ahead, and it's been kind of on and off, raining, super humid, cloudy, but if it looks clear enough, and I'll check the weather and see what it's saying, then I might go ahead and work on sanding these down so they actually fit back where they're supposed to be fitting. But if it's supposed to be doing some raining, then I don't know, I'll have to find something else to do, because I don't want these getting all wet out in the rain. Okay, so I don't know what is going on over here, but I originally had this one in here, and it didn't go all the way in, kind of like how it looks right now. And I was like, well, if that's as far as I go, I guess that's as far as it's going to go. So I tried hooking up, and it ended up popping out and shooting all over the place like the other one did. So now I put it on here, whole new hole, and again, it just kind of spins and spins and spins, and it's super loose, and if I put that bungee on here, it's probably going to shoot across the fan again. I don't know why. It's the same wood and the same metal as all the other ones, but for some reason it just only goes in so far and then just keeps spinning around and doesn't actually get tighter. I mean, I can just wiggle that out of there. I don't have to spin it out. So I don't know if I need it to be smaller or bigger, the hole. These are all supposed to be the same size, so they should all require the same drill bit, but it seems like some of them need it to be a little bit bigger, some need to be smaller. I don't really know what else to try here. I already put 2 holes over here. So I don't know, I guess maybe I'll try one. I mean, it's loose, but at the same time it won't go in all the way, so I don't know if it needs something, a bigger drill bit, so it can actually spin in fully, or if it needs something smaller so it can like tighten up. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep messing with stuff and hopefully don't have to put too many holes in the wall. Alright, so those are all in there. I added glue to, I think, pretty much all of them over on this side, as well as some of the wood putty that you can see in those spots where I had to make multiple holes. So I'm just gonna let all that fun stuff dry there, and then probably just go quick, get something to eat, and then I will probably just come out here and start dealing with sanding this down to get that out of the way. So that way I know it's just taken care of and they'll actually fit in there when I need them to fit in there. And then I can go ahead and get back to planning out all this fun stuff as far as what's going on the bottom and the doors and all that cool stuff. Okay, so I took out this first piece here. I'm gonna go ahead and sand down this edge, and then hopefully it will fit. I'm just gonna hook up the sander and everything. It's definitely starting to warm up here. The clouds have gone away and it's getting sunny, which is kind of nice because it's been cloudy for the past couple of days, but definitely warming up out here. Okay, so I thought sanding was going to be good enough. I've been using like the most heavy duty grit that I have, going back and forth on this thing, and you can see it's still catching on there. So I think I'm just gonna say screw it and get the saw and just strip off that, you know, tiny bit on the edge, and then if it fits, then I'll just go ahead and sand over it. And like I said, at some point I'll have to restain the edge over here. But the sanding is just going to take forever, especially because this is just the first piece and I have 3 more to do. So yeah, I'm going to get the salt out and just take off the edge. Okay, so one piece is done. It took kind of forever because I just kept taking off tiny bits. I didn't want to take off too much. And then when I took the saw out, I put this down, and the little, whatever the hell it's called, elastic bungee thingy, kept it up a tiny bit. So I thought I was almost done cutting this, but I realized it was actually slid over a little bit because it could fit underneath the this board a tiny bit. So I thought I was almost done with this, and then I realized once I put that all the way down, nope, I had to take off even more. So one is done there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way, and then just throw the next one down and see how that fits. Okay, so I got that one in there as well, and turns out not only do they need to be trimmed along the side, they are also going to need to be trimmed along the other edge as well, because they both fit in here sideways, but they don't fit in here together with each other. So I have to take one of these out there and trim off the edge, you know, either like that edge or the bottom edge on that one or whatever, and then we'll see if they fit again. Alright, so those two are finally in there. As you can see, definitely gonna have to do some restaining. I'm not worried about that right now, I just want them to actually fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the other two now. I'm gonna get those out of the way so that way you can make sure when those are in there, they're sitting like all the way down in there and not just like look like they fit when they really don't. I swear, I don't know if it's what happened to it. There's no way it's just a stain from this. If it's because there was some water in the paintbrush or the humidity. I mean, this wood is almost completely level with this now, whereas before I would have 2 pieces of this stacked up and it would, you know, just be over this height. So this is somehow just got way bigger. I don't know what the hell happened to it. So I don't know if I'm even gonna stack them on top of there when I make it into like a bed, because this is already like basically level, but I do want to just make sure that they're all like the right size, so it doesn't matter which ones I grab, you know, they'll all actually work in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those back over there and then take those out and begin the process of trimming those down. Okay, so these are the other 2 pieces from this side. Now I trimmed down the sides here, and once again they are overlapping in the middle there, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this one across that edge and then finally be done with making them fit. And then at some point I need to resand, restain, all that stuff, but I don't think that's happening today. I really want to get to work on this cabinet here. I would like to, in this week, get this one completely done and that one over there completely done, and that way that's like the majority of the really intense stuff that's left for the van. Then I just have to figure out how I'm going to do the doors. I have to build out, you know, the cabinets down here, but these cabinets are going to be a lot easier than lifting shit up here because they're going to be on the ground. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that, and then I'm going to get back to figuring out what wood I'm using up here. And yeah. Okay, so those pieces are finally in there. This took way longer than I thought it was going to take. To get those out of the way and start figuring out what the hell I'm doing up here. Okay, so I just got back from Lowe's with all this fun wood here and some hinges. I don't think I'm actually going to do anything tonight because my arms are still just killing me from dealing with that. So I want to let my body just get some rest, and that way I'll be more prepared when I'm ready to do this one then, and I'm not just like dying and struggling to hold it up there. So these are the pieces, 2-inch pieces that are going to go along the bottom. These are the 3-inch pieces that will go along the top, and this wood is both for the doors on the front as well as for the wood going underneath. Everything, well, these are both 1/2 inches. I wanted to get everything, both of these, in 2-foot long pieces, but for some reason they didn't have this size in the 2-foot. They had it labeled there, but some other size wood was there. So I just got the 3-foot one, and I can just trim it. That's not a problem. This is something like 15-30 seconds or something, but I held up these pieces to them and they seem to match really, really well, so I was like, that's close enough for me. So I'm gonna use these pieces for doors, like I said, because it will match up with this stuff as far as size, and then it's just thick enough and it'll match and everything to go along the bottom and hold everything up. But that is gonna be it for today. I am definitely just done and beat. These are the hinges I got. They're the 2-inch size, so they'll fit right up on the, attaching into that 2x4 that's up there, along with the, the piece that's gonna go in front of it. And yeah, that's it. Until tomorrow. All right, it is Tuesday morning, so it's time to start getting this all up onto the cabinet here and get that taken care of. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know what I'm gonna start with. I might start with the pieces along the top, get that out of the way, and then I don't know, maybe I'll do the pieces along the bottom. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna just start grabbing pieces and putting lines on them and cutting them out. Okay, so here is the first piece that's gonna go underneath here. I figure I would start with that, and then that way when I do put that down, when I do this piece here, it can come down and cover that, and that way it'll be all, just looking at straight piece of wood here, and the weird chopped up edge will be underneath rather than the weird chopped up edge sticking out. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. But basically it is sticking out a tiny bit too much. Let me try to find it. So there, I drew a line. We're sticking out too much there and there, but I don't really have any way of measuring it right now going across that middle part because there's nothing there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just screw this into place, and then just take one of the boards, the little ones there, and just hold it up there as if I'm trying to get it to fit into place, and then trace using that. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. So I have this one in. I just have 4 screws in it right now while I was working on this one, making sure everything lined up. If you look in, there is a little bit of a gap in between going along there. I think that's because these screws kind of stick out. I tried to get them in as much as I could, but you can see I started like stripping the crap out of it, so I didn't want to just keep going. But I can just fill that in with some of that putty stuff. But that is all in there, so I'm going to throw in probably a few more screws going along here somewhere, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the top piece up here, and then it'll be time to do the first, well, I don't know if I'm going to do the door yet. I might just keep going down the line here with the other pieces, and then I'll save the doors for the end because I'm going to need to do like the hinges and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to keep working on this stuff. So I'm going to put a few screws in, grab that wood putty, get that in there, and move on to the next little zone over here. Okay, so I'm trying to do the putty up here. I got a tiny bit on there, but everything just keeps falling through. Because there's obviously nothing here stopping it from falling. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Maybe I'll put some of that white sealant stuff on there, because that seems to be real like sticky and it just stays on there. So maybe I'll do like that, and then I'll put putty on there or something to cover that up then or something. I don't know. But this stuff just on its own is not going to work. It's just going to keep falling. So I'm going to use something different. Okay, so I used that white sealant stuff going all along in here. Doesn't look beautiful in there, but I mean, just looking in, you can't even see it. And then looking from underneath, you can't see anything. I mean, you can see there's like a gap there, but that's it. You can see a little bit of that wood putty stuff that's in there probably just end up falling out. So yeah, I'm happy with how that's looking so far. I'm gonna go on over here, get the bottom piece going, and then do the front piece just the same like I did that, and just keep working my way down the line, so that way I have a whole functioning shelf here basically, and then I can start working on getting, you know, the top and then the doors in. Okay, so those two are done there. This piece is on here. This one's all screwed in, just like the other one. So yeah, everything's looking good so far. So I'm just keep on going on down the line here. All right, so number 3 is in there. I went ahead and just realized there's some sealant sticking out here. So I've been doing the sealant along these. That way they have more time to dry and all that. That's just all right. I'm gonna deal with that in a second. Yeah, so these two, the first two, seem like they're basically all sealed up. You know, just obviously waiting for it to dry. This one, there was a bit more of a gap towards this end because this board actually went back behind here. I measured from here and then realized there was a little bit extra where the board was going to go back to cover up the gap there. So this board ends up being a little bit shorter there. So I put the sealant in there. I'm going to let that all dry. And then once that's dry, I'll go ahead and add more to fill in those gaps. But just because they're such large gaps, can't really get it all in one shot. It'll just end up kind of moving all around and makes a mess and everything. So once that's dry, it'll be good. And you can see that end's already all good because that side fit a lot better compared to this side. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the last one in there, and then we'll have basically a fully functioning shelf system here. And I'll just need to work on turning it into an actual cabinet by having the doors and whatnot on it. Okay, so this is where we're at with this one. Almost finished here, so I went ahead and got a couple screws in the bottom and then did some tracing. So basically I'm just going to trace going around this weird piece here, going, and then here I held up the one of those little boards, put it on here, going across. So I'm going to pop this back out, get all this cut out, put it back up, and then it'll be time to get that one cut and installed. And then if I have to do any sealant stuff, I'll do that. And then it'll just be letting the sealant dry and start working on the stuff up top here. Alright, so here is that last one, totally done now. I think this was my best one by far. This might be the best cut I've done on anything in the entire van so far. And then in here, you can see there's almost no gap along there. I'll just throw a little bit of that sealant in there to fill that in, and I'll be good to go. And now I will be good to start working on the top part up here. Okay, so I'm working on this piece up here. So basically I'm just lining up there, and I'm trying to get it so it's decently even with the ceiling there. But also making sure I don't cut this end so short that you know, this starts sticking out. So I've just been trimming it down little by little, trying to get that angle right to get it closer to being flush with that. Only thing I'm kind of worried about is how that's going to affect then how the next piece is going to line up with this piece, because this end that's over here is going to be shorter than the normal piece, to, you know, when it starts out. So I don't know what it's going to end up looking like. I think pretty much all of them need to be at least somewhat trimmed. I kind of just held them up there and just saw what they look like, and it looks like one way or another they need to be trimmed a little bit to be flat with the ceiling. So yeah, so I'm just working on this one. This seems like it's going to be the biggest pain, just because this one sticks up so much because there's not anything over here. You know, it just gets screwed in here, and then it was with that tightness it got pulled up, and then there's no insulation right here to push it back down, so it really curves up there. So I'm just gonna keep making my cuts and see where we get with it. Okay, so here's those first two in. This one kind of just ended up naturally being like perfectly aligned, just from when I had to cut a bunch of stuff out there to make it, you know, fit up against that ceiling. So it worked out. So I'm gonna grab the next piece and start working on that one. Okay, so this one, I haven't cut anything off yet at all. You can see there is a little bit of a gap here, but it's already slightly above that one. So I don't want to chop anything else off of here to try to make it fit better up there. I'm more concerned with it fitting down here and everything being lined up and not being all wonky looking. So I'm going to go ahead and just slightly drop that, and I'm going to go ahead and just put a screw right in there and that piece will be done. Because like I said, I don't want it to end up, if I have to chop off enough to get it up there, the bottom might end up being like up there, and then when I'm trying to do the doors, it's going to be a lot more complicated. If everything lines up, it's basically one big solid piece going across the top. So the doors, just make them all going across. It doesn't matter if the doors line up perfectly, starting and ending right in line with this. But if they are, all weird and unlevel, the doors have to be perfectly, going along this line to have the right, heights and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just chuck some screws in this, and this one will be done, and we'll see what happens with the last one. Okay, so that one is in there. That one was easy too. I just had to trim off a bit to make it fit lengthwise, and then just screwed it right in and it lines up there. So before I start working on the doors, I'm going to go ahead and do some cleaning up in here, because there's like sawdust in some of these little bins in here. So I want to get that out and just overall clean up the van, because there's definitely sawdust and whatever else just all over the place right now. So I'm going to get that cleaned up, and then it'll be time to start putting on some doors and hinges and all that stuff. Okay, so everything's all cleaned up in here now. Got rid of all that sawdust. So now it's time to start working on the doors. So for keeping the doors closed and keeping the doors open, what I want to do is magnets. I don't have any of the magnets right now. I did not order them yet. So I'm going to have to do that at some point. And then as far as opening the doors, I think what I might do, I was originally thinking of taking one of those circular things I use to like make holes, like I made for the outlets and whatever the else I use them for. I don't even remember. Maybe for those light switches too. I don't know. And basically just open up that way. But now I'm thinking either on the door I'll have a cutout, kind of like a kind of thing, or down here cut it like that. And that way you can just actually put your hand in and lift it up instead of trying to get like a finger or two in some weird cutout hole. And it's gonna be really hard to sand that, so it's gonna be kind of like rough. Whereas if I did more of that, swooping half of an oval kind of a shape, it'd be a lot easier to, make nice, smooth, and all that fun stuff. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on getting some measurements and chopping up some more wood to get in here. Yeah, so for right now I'm basically just gonna cut the wood out to be the right size, get it all in here, put the hinges on, and then I'll figure out how I'm opening and closing it after that. Although I don't want to put all of them up here without figuring out that, because then it's going to be really hard to get them open. Basically I would just have to take the hinges off, I think. And so yeah, so just going to get it cut and start putting them in here, figure out the opening situation. And like I said, I'm going to order some magnets to put on the door and on the frame and on the ceiling, little magnets, so that way it can either be stuck closed with the magnet or open up and it'll be stuck open with the magnet. Okay, so here we are with the first one. I got that little slot there. Everything seems to be functioning okay. The screws are a little bit longer than this piece of wood. I don't really know what to do about that, but they're just kind of sticking out there. But I do need to take a little bit more off of here to get that to fit right. So I'm going to pop out some of these screws real quick and trim off a bit more, and then it should be all good to go for this piece. And like I said, I don't have any magnets right now, so I can't really do anything else with it as far as having something to make sure it stays closed all the time, or just stay open when I lift it up. But it's in there. Okay, so everything fits here now. The only issue is these screws, because they're sticking out. When I try to push it in, it's in and it pops right back out because those screws are just smashing into the wood on here. So I'm gonna see what size screws I have. I'm pretty sure I have some pretty tiny ones. I don't know if they'd be too tiny for this. Actually might be so small that it doesn't hold a bracket, but I'm gonna see what I have and figure out what the hell I can do here, because there's not really any other options unless I decide to saw off the ends of those screws somehow. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I replaced them with these. These are actually my 1/2 inch screws. I figured the other ones were 1/2 inches, just because this is just under 1/2 inch and these were poking out. But these are actually bigger than that. I'm not sure what size they are. So I whipped these in there, and as you can see here, now there are no screws popping out there. Still, on this side it kind of sticks out a little bit. I don't know if it's just like, if this piece is like a little bit warped for some reason, or more likely something about just the overall cabinets I screwed up somehow. So, but whatever, that's just how it's going to be for right now. It's got a tight fit there, which is actually kind of good for right now because I don't have anything to hold it closed. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it like that, and then at some point I'm going to go ahead and sand all this down, make it smoother, and it'll have a better ability to open and close there. But I don't want it to be freely flying open and close while I'm trying to drive, so it keeps opening, shutting, slamming shut and stuff. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and now move on to the next one. I might actually go down there and start at that end. I noticed that these are actually a little under 2 foot. It said it was 2 foot, but of course wood measurements being stupid. So I noticed when I was holding up, it seems like they might, some of them seemed like they were kind of pretty close with this, whereas this one, because it's smaller down here, this cabinet, it came quite a bit over, so I might start down here. I don't know, I'm gonna figure it out. Alright, so I just want to show my process for making the little handle cutout thing here. So basically I make a mark up on there that's in the middle between basically the end of that 2x4, the end of that one, so right in the middle of that whole opening. And then I put this up there and I make that same marking, so it might not be directly in the middle of this board, but the opening is in the middle of the actual cabinet itself. And then I measure out 1.5 inches this way and 1.5 inches that way, so it's a 3-inch opening. And then I measure 1/2 inch up over there, and then what I've been using is actually this. I take it and I just hold it up here, just basically just lining up where I marked that thing over here and where the 1/2 inch marks are up there, and just trace it, and that way it gives me that nice kind of curved around even looking thing, so I don't end up with some weird wonky misshapen opening. So that's what I have done over there. It came out pretty nice, I think. So I'm going to just do the same thing going all the way around for the other ones as well. So this one's size is already all good, so I'm going to go ahead and make this cut, and then I'll get some, not brackets, hinges on there, and this one should be all set then, hopefully. Okay, so this one was all good, and then when I put the hinges on, it seems like it dropped it just a hair, like there's a little gap here now, and now it won't close right, which is weird because this was in there when I was putting the hinges on, and then when I went to open it, it was really, really tight, and I got it open, and now it's like this. So I don't know how it lowered from the hinges being on there, but somehow that happened. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where it needs to be trimmed, pop these hinges off, trim it, put it back up, and this one should be good then. Okay, so I took it off and did that trim. I'm going to need to take off a little bit more somewhere, I think over here, and I'm also going to have to re-measure this out and probably make it a little bit bigger, because now it's starting to shrink as I take more off of here. You can see like the size difference here, how easy it is to get my fingers in there, and here not so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and shave some off of there, and then once it's actually good and functions, I'll have to take it back down and re-measure and do the outline with that little box for the circle and cut that back out again. Okay, so this one's totally in there, good to go. We might be getting rain soon. It is getting kind of cloudy and windy out there, and it's saying possible rain. So I'm going to see what I can get done. I don't know if I'll be able to fully get another one done here before it starts raining. But whatever I don't get done, I can just deal with tomorrow morning, and then go ahead and sand all the edges, and hopefully then I will be able to then just start throwing on some paint and stain and all that stuff, and have this side basically just finished, other than just waiting for the magnets, which I still haven't ordered yet. I can hear the wind out there. Alright, so I'm going to see what I can get done here. Like I said, whatever doors I don't finish here, that'll just be tomorrow morning. I'll finish up that stuff. Okay, it is Wednesday morning. It is super early. It's like 6:30 in the morning. But I really want to get these doors done and be able to do a little bit of sanding and the staining up here, the painting down here. Before I have to leave, I have to go do some running around today. So I'm hoping to get that done, and that way while I'm just driving around getting stuff done, that can all work on drying, and then it'll just be done and I don't have to worry about it. So my neighbors are going to be probably pissed off that I'm breaking out the saw at 6:30 in the morning, but like I said, I just really want to get those two done. And then once that's done, and then I can just do some quick sanding and then throw some stain and paint up there. And then we'll see how far I get before I have to leave and start doing stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start getting everything all set up and ready and start making some cuts. Okay, so I got that first cut done. I needed a little bit more trimming there to get the fit. For these, I don't know if this would expand it as well, but now this and this won't close. So I don't know if same kind of thing, like just moisture in the air, and now these are not fitting. But whatever, I'm planning on taking these out to sand them anyway, so when I do that, I can make sure everything actually fits. But for right now, I'm just gonna keep working on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and trim off that edge, hopefully get that to fit in there, and then start working on, you know, like the little handle thing and the hinges and all that. Okay, so number 3 here is done. It's not closing quite all the way, or not staying closed, I think, because this part is so close, this wood compared to this. So once I take this down and sand it, I might take a little bit off of that part right by the hinge here, and that should, in theory, allow it to kind of lay back there a little bit easier rather than popping out like that. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get this one done, and once that's done, I'll take them all down. Probably do some kind of little marking on the back or something so I remember which one goes where, and then do that, you know, sanding along the edges, along the handle part, up here, like I said, I have to do, and then get them all back up in here, and then go ahead and start working on the, I'm going to paint under here white so it kind of matches along with the wall here as well as the ceiling, and then I'll do the stain like I did for that and the floor and everything all along here. And I also want to put somehow some holes in here to allow the airflow, kind of like I have going on down here with the openings, so that way air can kind of flow all the way through here. There will be, you know, a little bit with this, but allow it to kind of pass all the way through, to make sure it's not like moisture building up in there or anything like that. So that's the game plan. Okay, so I have this piece totally cut, the little handle cut out and everything. It's outside right now, but I'm actually going to change what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and after I get that one, I'm gonna actually sand it right now. Then I'm going to take these two out and make the cuts I need and sand those as well as this one. And then I'm actually not going to do any staining today. I might actually do the painting under here, but I'm not going to do any staining because if this stuff expands more, like this stuff I just cut and put in here, if this expands I have to cut it again tomorrow or whatever. I don't want to have to, you know, I don't want to stain it all today and then tomorrow I'll have to cut it, sand it, and stain it again. So I figure I'll just leave this stuff in here, see what happens, if it continues to fit properly or not, and then if I do have to cut it, I can just cut it, and then when it seems like it's actually done doing whatever the hell expanding it's doing, I can go ahead and then do the final sanding and staining and be done with it, rather than just constantly waste my time. Like with these, I have to sand and stain again. So that's my game plan. Like I said, I might paint down here just because nothing's moving down there. Nothing has to, you know, fit into anything. It's all just in there screwed in. And whereas like these have to fit in here, then be taken out, and then fit back in here and taken out. These are, you know, opening and closing, so they have to fit in there, and then they move out and stuff. So yeah, so that's the game plan. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the sander and do the one that's outside, and then I'll be popping these two off to do the cutting that I have to do on there and sanding those, and then I'll also do the sanding on this one here. Okay, so I went ahead and trimmed down these and got all 4 of these sanded here, so they all fit nicely in there. Granted, now when I'm driving, they're gonna be like kind of banging around because there's no magnets or anything, and they're all kind of loose in there now, which is good because they'll, you know, when I want to open them and close them, they'll be a lot easier. But although this one I actually forgot to do anything about up here, and it's kind of still weird like that, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and actually work on that electric thing, I forget what that's called, that runs from that battery to these batteries, because I finally did get in a longer wire, so in theory that should fit. So I'm gonna start going through the instructions, figure out how to get all that connected, and work on that this morning. Okay, so here we are with this pain in the ass cable again. I've been just working on just cutting my way through, and now trying to rip this end off so I can put on you know, basically one of those onto this end, and it's just taking forever because this wire just sucks. Okay, so I'm working on the new cable I got that's 30 foot long. I went ahead and stripped off one end here. I'm trying to put these on that I bought because I know I needed at least one extra, because I can use the one that it came with for the other end, but the one that is already connected to the other one, I'm not going to try to rip off and then stick on it here. Although I might end up actually trying to do that, who knows, because these are just impossible to crimp down. I mean, I'm using, you know, the one that I usually use. It doesn't actually have a size 4, it's meant for smaller stuff, but it worked fine for that one, which that one came with the kit, whichever one I put on there. One came on there, one I just put on there. But now these ones are very different and very difficult to squeeze. I mean, it looks like I didn't do anything to it, and I was just squeezing crap out of it, and you can see like 2 tiny little dents on there. That's it. I don't know what else to do. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do with these things, is smush them down so they stay on the wire, so I'm just going to keep trying to do that. Okay, so I was just beating this thing with a hammer, and you can see almost nothing happened to it. You can see this slightly flattened out each of those edges. Yeah, this is going to be a pain in the ass. Oh, there it is. So I don't know, I'm just going to keep beating the crap out of it with the hammer to try to get it down, and then I'll put those wires in there and just beat it with the hammer some more. Okay, so what I did, I went ahead and put duct tape around. I put this on here, put duct tape around it, and smashed the crap out of it with the hammer. It wasn't tight enough to actually stay on there, but now I'm having issues trying to get this wire back into here. So I'm going to keep trying to feed this stuff back into here, and then probably put a little bit more tape on there and smash it. Hopefully then it will close up enough to actually stay on there, and I can actually move on to the next step. Okay, so it's definitely getting closer, but it's still, let's see if I can do this with one hand. You can see it definitely still can like shift around, which I definitely don't want to happen. I don't want this just popping off the second I start driving or something. So I'm gonna keep smashing this a little bit more. Hopefully it will then be stuck on there. If not, then I'm gonna check online, see if Lowe's has any of this 4-gauge connector things, and just pick up something from there, because I mean, this is crazy. I'm definitely gonna have to leave a review on this on Amazon saying like this is impossible to work with. I don't know if this is meant for like you know, like welding it onto something, but this should not be used for, you know, like crimping purposes. This is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm gonna throw on another little bit of duct tape on there to hold it in place, and then just smash it, and hopefully it will be stuck on there. Okay, so that seems pretty secure on there now, finally. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the heat shrink thing on there and put that on, and this end will be done, and then I can go ahead and figure out the actual length that I need, and if I need to chop anything off. I'm gonna have to go ahead and make a hole over in that wheel well finally, and that way I can run the wire up through there and see how much extra I have. Okay, so the heat shrink stuff that came with the kit has worked fine with the regular lighter, but this isn't really doing much of anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this inside and see if doing it over the stove will work better, because I'm not really getting, I got like a little wrinkle there. That's it. That's as much as I gotten. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that inside and see what happens. Okay, so here's the wheel well. I'm gonna make a hole probably somewhere in this general zone, so that way the wire can come right out and link up right to there, to that battery. I'll show you what the outside looks like. So looking up here, there's nothing up here. So I'm thinking the wire's gonna be coming from somewhere over in that area, up here, and go up in this zone somewhere in this area. And then I'm gonna have to probably put some type of like clips or something to hold it in place going along this, so it doesn't just, you know, flop down and get destroyed by this wheel. Not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. So I'm gonna look into that first before I start installing this, and then need to drive the loads and get something to do that. So, all right, let me figure that out, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so just show you what I've been working on. So here is that cable. So basically, I have it just temporarily on this random bolt that doesn't actually do anything. It's just holding in the battery. This is the negative and positive. It's actually going to be hooked up on that thingy when I have it in there. So I have the wire going over there, down, underneath. Then it came out somewhere over here, but then leads over. And if I can find it here on the camera. So then it just continues on, going on down. So right now I just have it basically being held up by going over some of the, I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call it down here, shit that's holding the van together. But then I'm going to throw zip ties on and basically link this cable to like this one. I can also, on ones that are close enough together, like over here, I could always run a zip tie going through that and attaching the wire. So I'm just going to keep continuing on down there. You can see the van doesn't seem that big when you're standing up, but when you're down here trying to run this damn wire, it seems like a freaking huge van. It's just really taking a while to run this all through here. So I'm just going to keep running on down. And yeah, the only thing I didn't think about until like right now is putting that other stupid clamp on there. Luckily, it's going to be the one from the kit that it came with, because if it was the other one, I would have to take this all back out so I could put the heat on over the stove, so the heat wrap would actually work. But it should be fine just crimping it and putting that on when it's already run through here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep running this down, and then I'm going to put that hole in the wheel well, run it up through there, figure out how much, if any, I need to chop off, and then do the stripping at the end, put the thing on, and then figure out what the hell the next step is. I don't even remember. Okay, so I have it running all the way from the front to over here by the wheel well. I'm going to go ahead and make the hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a small bit, then do the 1/4 inch, and then go ahead and do, I believe this is the 3/4 inch, whatever the smaller sizes that I have. I think it's 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to make that hole, and then I'll go back under and push that wire up through, and then I can actually see how much I need to chop off of there, if I need to chop anything off of there. And then at that point I can go ahead and strip it, put that thing on there. I can start zip tying it, I guess, get everything all in place, and then it'll be finally time to go on to whatever the hell the next step is to connecting all this fun stuff. Okay, so I decided to make the hole over here. At this side, it'll be easier rather than having to go all the way across the wheel well. Having it close over here means less
pain in the ass trying to strap down a wire above a wheel. So this is the 1/4 inch now. I checked outside and everything looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and make the actual big hole now and then work on getting that wire up through here. Okay, so I finally got wire up in here. So obviously I have more than enough. I'm going to go ahead and chop this down and then do the stripping and adding the thingy on it. And then I'm going to go ahead and start zip tying stuff underneath so I don't forget about that. And then I'm going to see what I'm supposed to be hooking up next. Okay, so I don't remember last time I filmed, but the wire in there, I put the zip ties on there. I do have to trim the ends of the zip ties, but it's all hooked up. Well, I don't have the wire actually hooked up to the battery or anything yet. So I have this negative wire just hooked to that random bolt there. I don't know why they do this, but they say you have to, in order to basically have this hooked up properly, the wires coming out of here, you have to chop out sections where you want the wires to come out. There's no way to use this product properly without having these cut out, so I don't know why they just don't cut them out. So now I'm trying to saw this out here with my knife here, which is a pain in the ass because it's just pretty thick plastic. But I'm not sure how else to go about doing it. I thought about using the saw for a second, but the saw blade would be way too huge and I would have just destroyed this thing. So yeah, I'm just gonna start sawing on through here until I get through so I can actually run the wire through here. Again, I don't get why they do that. You have to have the holes in here for the wires to come through, so the holes should just be there to begin with. Okay, so I chopped off that section there. I mean, I just chopped out, you know, where you can see the indent on that one. And I'm not sure what the hell is supposed to happen here. I mean, this is the wire that they sent me. This isn't even the one that I bought. This is one that they sent me, and it doesn't even fit in there. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking. This is obviously, I mean, just looking at it, you can tell that these are not the same size as the 4-gauge wires. So I guess I'm just gonna try to chop some more out of there. This whole thing is just poorly designed. I'm just hoping that after all this pain in the ass work, it actually starts working. But between the length of wire that it came with and this crap, I mean, this, you can see how close this is to where you're chopping. So as I'm trying to cut through this edge, my knife keeps scraping along this thing. So I'm hoping that doesn't damage it in any way. Now I'm gonna have to keep chopping through this to actually get it to fit. Again, the hole should have been there to begin with, and if you are gonna make me do it, at least give me the outline that's the right size so the wire can fit through there, the wire that you gave me. Alright, so I'm gonna just keep carving away at here and try to figure out what the hell size I need to get this in here. Okay, so this is all attached here. I got those cutouts going. I just fed that black wire through the same one as this wire. So now I think the next steps are to actually start attaching some of the wires. I think attach the one that goes to the inside battery and then attach the one out here. And then basically just check to see if it actually works. Obviously then reattaching the negative wire there as well. Okay, so before I can just pop that off and attach it, I need to go ahead and disconnect the solar power coming in, so there's no issues once I take that off. Obviously all those are going to want to, you know, come off of the, you know, screw, bolt, whatever is coming out of there. So all the positive is going to be like disconnected, and it's going to kind of screw everything up for a second. So I got to go ahead, get the screwdriver, loosen those, take those out. Then I can go ahead and pop that off, connect, add the this connection, get all that back on there, and then reconnect everything over here. Okay, so yeah, all I did was disconnect the positive panel from the negative panel. Then I unscrewed that thing, added the wire there, got it all screwed back in there, and then added the negative and then the positive for the panel. And this is all back to functioning like normal. Although that panel, why is that blinking? Okay, I'm gonna check that out real quick, figure out why that's blinking. And then I think the last thing I do is add that negative wire, although no, the positive wire to the battery out there, and then the negative wire. Okay, so this is what the positive looks like out here. I'm guessing I'm just gonna add it to here, because if I undo this, I can't fit this little thing onto that giant thing there. So I'm thinking I just undo that and add it there. I don't know where else I would really add it. There's this plastic thing on here. I don't really know how to get it off or if it's supposed to come off. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try it doing that, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it works. If not, I'm gonna have to figure out how else to attach it to it. Okay, so this is on here so tight that when I try to spin it, just the whole thing just starts spinning around. I'll see if I can do it kind of one-handed here. When I put pressure on it, just the whole damn thing spins instead of actually turning that nut there at all. And there's some kind of goddamn bee or wasp or something that keeps flying in here. I don't know why. There's no flowers inside of this van, but it keeps trying to come in here anyway. So let me spin that back over there. So I don't know. I guess I'll give it a couple more attempts here to get this loose. If not, I don't know if maybe hooking on here would work, because it's still like metal and it's attached to the positive here. I'm gonna try this because that seems like the more right spot, but I can always try that as a backup if that's not working. Okay, so everything is all back to being connected. So there is this thing. Apparently, once I turn on the van, there should be some kind of red light on here. I don't know where the hell. Oh, I think it's like right over there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that started, and if everything's actually hooked up properly, then we'll see that red light. It also says to check the volts basically on the batteries, make sure that those are above 13 or something, but I already have solar power running to it, so it already says it's above that. So the only thing I really have to go on is that little thing. So I'm gonna go turn on the van and see what happens. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear this because the van is loud as hell, but yeah, so it looks like that light is on. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off. It's hard for me to, it's hard to see the light from just above like that, so it's actually a lot easier to see with camera. So I'm actually turn the van off and see how quickly that light goes out, and I'll also be able to just double check with the camera because it's a lot easier to see that way than by shoving my head down in there. Okay, so I just turned the van off and walked back over here, and now if I hold it down there, okay, so I'm still seeing a light on the camera here. Everything's turned off though. Let me just shut the door. Maybe that will affect it somehow. Because I don't want it to just drain my battery and then I won't be able to drive anywhere. That would not be good. So let's see if once I close everything up, because the interior lights are on, so I don't know if that's kind of affecting it, like it's keeping it everything running a little bit. Okay, so that's off. So I don't know if it was because I closed the doors or just a certain, couple seconds or whatever it takes, but the light is off, so everything seems to be working. The connections are still together. Yeah, I wish that the connectors that they sent with and that I bought, wish they went over the actual wire itself, like the actual insulation or whatever you want to call it, because there you can see the wire goes into the metal there, and then the metal ends, and then it just goes to this stuff. So it kind of just bends like that. I would rather it go over the actual whole red part, and that way I feel like it'd be a lot more secure. But yeah, that's how they decided to do it. So there is all that fun stuff. Alright, so that is finally hooked up after how many months? I mean, I basically tried to start with that as the very first project, and now 20 weeks later or whatever, it's finally actually installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop the ends off those zip ties that are underneath, get this cleaned up. That negative wire they were saying to hook up to the battery, I didn't bother doing, and I see no reason to, because I already have negative wires hooked up to the batteries, connecting the batteries, going to the charge controller, going to the power system and all that, going to an inverter. So I really just don't understand the purpose of it, why I would need to add another one to it just to go nowhere. And this is the wire that's now good for nothing. These were some kind of weird connectors if you have some kind of strange, I guess kind of like the one that I have for the van battery, basically one of those giant things on there. You could hook this up to it and then hook the wire onto there, but I didn't need that. But, so yeah, so that is everything. So it's all hooked up. I am going to get those zip ties cut, clean up a little bit, and then relax for a minute because, I mean, I'm just glad it was a little bit cooler. I got out here early because it was nice to be able to crawl around there with a jacket and pants on rather than, you know, in a t-shirt and shorts and getting all cut up and rocks in my hair and everything. So at least that is taken care of. So yeah, I'm gonna try the zip ties, clean up, and then I'll come back out here a little bit later on and figure out what the hell I'm doing next. But right now my plan is to lay down and relax after that adventure. Okay, so something I almost totally forgot about. I'm gonna need to seal that up. So I'm gonna grab the non-self-leveling sealant real quick, throw that on there so that I can just start drying. And then I'm gonna be ready to relax for a little bit. Okay, so back out here. So the next thing I want to work on is this seat here. I think this part kind of has come out a little bit because there's something holding in that bracket, holding it at the bottom, but nothing keeping it really stable at the top. And now this is right up on the edge, and when I sit on here sometimes, this will kind of push down too much and end up going down and push this out, if that kind of makes sense. So what I want to do is see if I can find either another piece of this, and I will just basically attach it to it. Or if I can't do that, then I will take that 2x4 I have out there, cut that, and put that in here, and take this one out. So I'm going to go look to see if I have another one of these. Unfortunately, that means I will probably also end up needing to trim down the 2x4 on the underside of this, which is going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but I don't feel like having this dropping down when I sit on here or when I'm laying on here when the whole bed is like set up. I don't want that suddenly caving in like that. It's not like it's at risk of, you know, completely falling through because the 4x4s all the corners are holding it in really, but it just definitely, there's a noticeable shift when it does drop off of that slight edge there. So I want to see what I got outside and figure out what I'm putting here. Okay, so what I'm thinking is I was originally planning on taking the bracket out and then having this cut to the exact same size as this piece and sticking it there and adding the bracket back on. But rather than doing all that and having to drill new holes for the bracket and everything and worrying about if this is going to be like the exact right height, I think I'm just going to cut it shorter, have it basically end, you know, somewhere around this area going up to here, and then just screw it right into here, and that should be all that it really needs then. And then I'll just see, I'll probably have to trim off a little bit off of here, which maybe I'll get lucky, and now that I have this all hooked up here, maybe I can just take out the screws here, take that out, trim it, and put it right back up there. I don't know, we'll find out. Okay, so I actually went about it a little bit of a different way. Feels really secure here. So what I did, instead of making it level with this piece, I moved it 1.5 inches down, because 2x4s are actually 1.5 inches, not 2, and I just screwed it onto there. And now when I put this down, the very edge of this, you know, catches onto the top one there, but then the 2x4 here just rests on there. So now, boom, that is way better than it was before. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing some cleaning up because it is just a disaster in here right now. And then I'm going to check to see what time it is, if I have to hit the road soon, and then whenever I get back later, depending on what time it is, try to get some more work done. It is, I think it's Thursday? I don't know, can't remember. I think it's Thursday. But I'm going to go ahead and run over to Lowe's and pick up 2x4s so I can get this going today, the cabinet over here. Yeah, it is for some reason really chilly out this morning. It's in like the 40s, even though yesterday was warm and today's supposed to be warm. But it, for some reason, it's dropped way down in temperature. But I'm going to go ahead and head on over there and pick that up so I can get going on that.
And yeah, so I will film again once I'm ready to start doing stuff. Okay, so here we are. I just picked up 3, so I still have one partially left over out there, and this is obviously a lot shorter. I think it's only about like 4 feet, so I actually can probably just use one board that go across and across up here. I'm going to measure again to see if it's a little over 4 feet or exactly what the measurement is there. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just start doing measurements and making the cuts. I'm going to just do it the same way I did last time. Have the board here and then the pieces sticking out, however many I'm going to have sticking out, I don't know. And then I'm going to do the one up top with the things sticking down, connect those, and then just start doing, the sides, bottom, all that stuff. So let's do it. Okay, so this piece is cut, and in there I have the screws going along, matching up with where the studs are, which you can tell by the screws going underneath it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out where I'm putting all the little separating things, and then I will go ahead and measure those and get them cut, and then I'll have to pop this back out and connect those and put it all back up there. Okay, so I have this all sketched out here. I actually did the math properly this time, so there's about 11 inches in between all these spots. I initially had it kind of screwed up. Instead of measuring from here, I was measuring from here and had the box like in the wrong spot and stuff, but now it's all evened out, so I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll just cut the other pieces first, and then I will go ahead and take this off and get that all connected together. Okay, so I wasn't paying attention when I did this, but basically the spots where the 2x4s are connecting are in like the same spots where all the screws are. So I'm probably gonna have to adjust all of these, move up, because once I put that on here, I'm not really gonna be able to get the drill in there like that. So all these are probably gonna have to be moved, which just kind of sucks, because if at least a few of them were in better spots, then I could get those in and then adjust the other ones. But now it's like I'm gonna have to try to hold this up there and drill all new holes and get screws in there. But whatever, just gonna go ahead and get these on here now and then deal with that afterwards. Okay, so that's in there with the new spots for the screws. They all look pretty good, except this one seems to be really slanting down compared to the rest. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually take it back down, see if maybe if I spin it around, if that'll make it be angled more level, and then get everything screwed back in and ready to start working on the next section. Okay, so I'm working on the board that's gonna go up top, and I did something different this time. I initially measured out just the same way that I measured out the other one for marking out where the boards go, but then what I did was I actually put this up there, basically just on top of the boards there at the very edge, and then I went and adjusted, so you can see some of the lines where I erased. The ones at the end seem like they're going to kind of overhang. I don't know why, because this is the exact same length as the board that's up there, so I don't know what's going on, but that's what I got. So I'm going to try that and see if that works better. The other one didn't turn out terribly, but they were kind of off, some of them. So I'm hoping that by doing it that way, maybe when they hang down from here, because it'll be like that, and you can see those will be hanging down there, connecting with those, maybe it will line up better. Although if I just spun that around, I may have actually just done that completely backwards now that I think about it. Yep. This one actually is supposed to match up with that one. I just realized I did it backwards. Alright, let me start again. Okay, so I finally got these stupid ass things on here. Took me a while. I ended up having to take a break because I was going to smash the drill. Basically had it, flipped. Well, no, it was this way, trying to drill up into it. And I would pre-drill it and then try to put the screw in, and the screw would go halfway and then just get stuck.
You see, this was down here, this end, and the screw ended up getting stuck because I was just drilling it so hard trying to get in there that it actually took off all the edges on the, the screw head, so I couldn't spin it in or out anymore. So I had to then take the drill, the actual bit, and go in there and drill the shit out of it to get the screw out of there. So yeah, this drill is, I think, on its last legs. I'm pissed off at it. I mean, when I have the little bits in there to pre-drill things, I'll purposely leave it out longer to try to go through, something like this, go through this 2x4 and get into here, and it will just spin a little bit, and then the drill will go up, but the bit won't. So you end up, the bit will only go in, the minimal amount, and it's just driving me crazy. It's pissed me off. So, but these are at least on here, and I held it up, and it seems like they line up decently. I am gonna need to get it up there and then trim these, and then get it up there permanently then. Okay, so here is the framing done for this set of cabinets. Yeah, not much else to say about it. It's basically the exact same process of the other side. So basically just put it up here, did tracing to figure out what needed to be trimmed, and then trimmed it, put it back up here. Most of them seem pretty good, although I think this one I'm going to end up needing to trim again, which means I'm going to have to bring the saw in here and make a big mess. Luckily it's close to the doors here, so maybe I'll get lucky and some will just kind of blow out there. But that one definitely needs to be cut down. I think the rest are close enough to where it'll still work with the putting the stuff underneath being all level and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I need to cut off there, get that done, and then I still do have some of those boards, so maybe I'll be able to just use those and hook those up and get that going. Okay, so I went and leveled these off the best I could there. I am gonna go ahead and take a break now. It was a lot of work really quick this morning, so I'm gonna relax for a bit and then come out here and clean up the massive sawdust mess, and then start looking into putting up the side. I don't even remember what wood I used on the side, if I have any more of that, so I'm going to look into that and stuff on the bottom and all that stuff. Okay, so got everything all cleaned up out here as far as that sawdust stuff. So for the side piece, I only have enough for one of the sides right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this one, because this is like the more weird one where it's going to have to go cut around this shape, and then I will have to pick up more of that wood to do the other end, and then I have wood to at least get started with the bottom here, so I can take care of that. And then after that point, I think it's gonna be time to go to Lowe's so I can pick up wood for the bottom, the top, probably need more for the doors and the other side over there. Okay, so I finally got this piece in here. I think it took like an hour to finally turn this from a square 14 by 14 into having it angled up that way, having the piece work around the wall here, and then finally doing this cut here. But it's finally in there. Took freaking forever. I hate when just one stupid little piece that isn't even like structurally important just ends up taking forever, but whatever, it's in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start messing around with those boards and see how far I can get with the stuff underneath here. Okay, so I got these first two in. That's all that I can really do right now until I pick up more wood, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to make a list up of all the different sizes and number of pieces of wood that I need for everything, and the hinges and all that, and then make a run over to Lowe's. So yeah, I guess I will get back to filming once I get back from Lowe's and have more wood to work with here. Okay, just got back from Lowe's, picked up some of the wood that I need, or all the wood that I need for finishing up that cabinet along with the hinges. So I'm gonna try to see how much I can get done before I'm just exhausted and done for the day and ready to just go eat dinner and do nothing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start working on the other side piece, and then I'll finish up the bottom, and then I'll see where I can get to from there. Okay, so I got that other side piece in there. I didn't do this one yet. It's I think it's time to wrap up for the day though. It's been, I don't know, probably close to like 12 hours. So I am done for the day. I'm not even gonna bother like cleaning up because I'm not driving anywhere. I'm just gonna throw the saw back in here, and then tomorrow I can work on getting that piece done, bottom, top, doors, and yeah. So I think tomorrow I'm just gonna focus on this, and afterwards try to just like actually do some relaxing, so that way then Saturday and Sunday I can actually like try to get some more work done and not just be exhausted the entire time. So that's the goal tomorrow, is just finish this. As far as, you know, the hinges, all the doors, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure when I want to do the staining and the painting. So far these all seem good. I haven't noticed these two down here, you know, expanding and not being able to close like these two were after that first day. So that's a good sign. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get some relaxing done, eat some food. Tomorrow morning this is getting finished, and then we'll take it from there, figure out what the hell I'm doing after that. Alright, so it is Friday. So like I said, I'm just gonna keep working on these. So I'm gonna get the last piece up here for this, and then start working on, you know, the bottom, top, and then the doors. And then I'm gonna work on doing the whitewash paint underneath, and then the staining going along the front of everything, as well as the side areas there. Alright, so it is pretty chilly out this morning again, but time to get to it, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing some measuring and cutting. Okay, so this piece is almost done. I got just 2 screws in it right now holding up while I went ahead and traced what edges need to be trimmed off here. But the drill is dead. I guess I haven't charged it up in a few days maybe, so that's not charging. So I can't really do a whole lot until it at least gets charged enough to take out the 2 screws in there, so I can cut that off and then go ahead and put it back up there. Alright, so as soon as that gets enough charge to take care of those 2 screws, I will get back to doing some cutting and then let it charge some more and then finish drilling that piece in there. Okay, so this one's on here, that one's on there. I've just been charging the battery in between cutting things. So I'm going to go ahead and get this next one on here, and it'll be time to do the top part. Okay, so I got both bottom pieces in here. I don't know if I filmed that. Got the first top one in here. So I measured up here, and it's like exactly 24 inches going across here. But this one wasn't fitting. I was like, what is going on? Is something wrong with the measuring? Something? So I hold this up, and for the first time ever, instead of the wood being shorter than what they say it's going to be, it's actually longer. I never seen that before, ever. So I'm going to go ahead and have to trim like half an inch off here or whatever. And then that should more or less fit. I'm probably have to trim, you know, the top corner so that way it fits more flush in the middle. What I did up here. Yeah, and then that'll be done. It'll be time to get going on these doors. Okay, so top and bottom are done there. So up next are the doors. I'm going to throw that on the charger for a little bit and just let it charge for more than, you know, 10 seconds at a time. And then I'll come back out here and start doing all the fun measuring and cutting and hooking up those hinges with those pain in the ass screws and all that stuff. Okay, first one is in here, so I'm going to go ahead and take it back down and measure out the little handle thingy, get that cut out, and then get it slapped back up there. And it's pretty close here at the edge. It definitely works right now. I'm just hoping there's not a bunch of wood expansion like there was on this side, but so far it looks good. Okay, first one is all in there, so I'm going to go ahead and do the next 2. Once those are all hooked up there properly with the little handles and everything, I'll go ahead and work on sanding them, making them all nice looking like I did the other side. And then it'll be time to start throwing some paint under here and some stain up here. My plan for that is I'm going to go ahead and tape off the edge going around here and do the whitewash underneath. and then I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here, and then I'll go and do touch-ups anywhere that need to be done, like these spots where I added the wood putty stuff, or any scratches on there from trying to get these freaking cabinets in here, like that giant one over there. And I figure by then, because the whitewash is so thin, this side should be all dry. I'll take the tape off, tape down underneath, then do all the stain up here, and then do the same thing over here. This should be dry by then. Take the tape off, put tape down here, and stain all that. And then same thing, do touch-ups with the stain, like the big-ass paint spot that I got there. And then it's also somehow, I don't know what happened over here, but somehow they got paint over there when I was working on this stuff. So I'll touch that off. There's a chip over here, so I'll do that. So yeah, so that's the game plan. And then, I don't know if I'll do it today, or maybe I'll save that for tomorrow, but then once this is all stained, painted, everything's in here good, I can go ahead and finally hook up the lights going underneath and up top and everything else. So I can actually have lights in here besides just these little things. So that'll be pretty awesome. Okay, so this one is all in there. However, it is somewhat stuck there. So I'm going to go ahead and have to trim off a little bit more along here, I guess. And then I'll go ahead and make the little handle thingy, and this will be done. Okay, so all the doors are on there. I don't remember last time I filmed, but there's all three of the doors. So next step is going to be popping these back off, sanding them, getting back up here, and then like I said, it's going to be painting and staining. Okay, so I just went through and did all the sanding on the doors here, so I guess it is that time to get out the paint and the tape and all that, and get the edge here all taped off and whatever else needs to be taped. Put out those bags that I have, that'll hopefully prevent too much disaster happening. And I'm gonna go ahead and do just the same whitewash kind of thing, so basically it'll match the ceiling ideally. So yeah, I'm just gonna paint it on there with the paintbrush, take the paper towel, wipe it down and thin it out and spread it all around, and that's it. So this whole bottom section, anything that you can see when you're looking up, I just realized I did not do the sealant stuff in here. They look pretty good, but I'm gonna go ahead and just check that real quick by looking inside and check on that. I don't know what's going on with this fan, but lately it's just randomly turns off. I'm not sure what is going on with that, because then it turns right back on, so it seems like it has power. But that green light should be on just like all the time, because it's saying that it's on the auto thing, and if depending on the temperature, it'll turn on or off. So I don't know, I might end up needing to contact customer support or something about that, try to figure out what the hell's going on there. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the on that sealant stuff if I need to, and then the paint. Okay, so that is all whitewashed down there. Yeah, nothing really specific to say about it. So I'm glad I did the tape, because you can see there is paint up here where I don't want there to be paint, because I'm going to be staining that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some tape up all along here now. And then we have to do the same thing. One nice thing is that I get to sit on the bench over here when I'm doing it. My neck is still turned up, staring at the ceiling while I'm trying to do it, but at least I can sit down. So over here it's going to be a little more pain, because I'm going to have to crouch down while I do this, but whatever. I'm going to go ahead and tape it up, get it painted, and then, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do all the touch-ups of anything paint-wise that needs to be touched up, and then it'll be time to start ripping off tape, putting up new tape, and doing the staining. Okay, so that whole side there looks like it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and start just doing the basic touch-ups, and then we'll see how dry all this stuff is. If it's ready to get tape on the other side, it's dry enough so I can start doing the staining then. Okay, so it turns out white paint is not very good at covering up weird dark spots. So this is it without me even smoothing out, doing with the paper towel, and it's still visible. And now if I go ahead and try to carefully do that, you can see it didn't really do anything. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. It's kind of weird. So this is why I don't typically stop and film in the middle of painting. So here I did paint over it and then wiped away, and it basically looks exactly the same. Same for that spot up there. This area where I decided to pause to do a little filming. Now the mark is still there, but all that weird paint that I put over it. It dried so fast I couldn't really wipe it away then once I stopped filming. So now I have a mark, and I basically highlighted the mark by making a big blob around it. So I'm gonna see what I can do, if I can try to cover that up, maybe just put more paint and just wipe it, see if that helps. But yeah, it looks like these marks are just kind of here to stay. I don't see them disappearing from the paint unless I just all out paint the wall solid white instead of the whitewash kind of a thing. Okay, so I just want to do one last check before I take these out. I'm going to sand wherever I had the cut and then do a little bit of staining on those edges. So these fit, so I'm going to get those outside and I'll check those, make sure they still fit. And then it'll be time to do some sanding and staining those. I'll leave them outside to dry while I work on doing the staining of everything else in here. Okay, so I got the sealant going on, not the sealant, the stain on those things over there at the table, wherever the hell it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all this stuff up here. Although I do need to real quick put my little holes in the side over here like I did with the big cabinet for like the airflow. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I wanna do all the stain up there and on this side before I start doing anything else, because like there's a bunch of spots over here I need to cover up, but I don't want to do those, forget, and let's just keep walking through it and get stain all over. And yeah, so that's the game plan. Okay, so I'm just working on taping everything. I kind of didn't think about how much tape was going to be required here. I was thinking I would just have to basically do the underside here, just like I did going around here for the other one. But the walls all around it are white, so I have to tape off all along there, and then going over here. I put tape going up back there. I need to put white paint on there. I forgot to do that on both sides here, but whatever. Next time that I have the white paint out, I'll go ahead and do that. So I have tape going up there, and then I also have tape going along here to make sure I don't bump into it when I'm trying to get up here with the stain. Yeah, and that's not even half of it, because now I gotta do this side. So hopefully I have enough tape here. It's getting pretty close. Okay, so I used up literally every last bit of tape off that roll, but it looks like everything is covered that needs to be covered. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that stain, and I'll just have to add painting tape to the list of things to buy for next time that I'm doing more painting and staining. So I almost just totally screwed up here big time. I didn't put any tape going along the ceiling here, and I was just about to put a whole bunch of stain up here, and that would have just gone everywhere. This side, there isn't really the ceiling, it's just, the metal up there. I'm gonna have to throw something up there that just has that black cord. Yeah, so it's really mainly this side that I just need one more piece of something. I'm not gonna use duct tape because that's not gonna be a good idea. But I definitely need to put something up there to make sure I don't end up destroying that part of the ceiling. Okay, so I found electrical tape, so that's what's going up there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this side, and hopefully the electrical tape works out. Okay, so I did this whole zone over here. So far it seems like the electrical tape worked. I don't know, when I rip it off, if it rips a whole bunch of paint off, then I'll know that it didn't work. But that's looking good. So now I have to decide, obviously I'm going to stain all this, but do I want to stain anything in here? Do I want to stain that, that 2x4 that's sticking out right there, or not? I'm not sure yet. If I want it, to all be stained, so open up and it all matches, or everything out here be stained and you open up and bam, there's just like natural wood. Because I'm not going to stain everything in here. That would be a lot. That would be a huge pain in the ass trying to get back in here. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to go ahead and stain this whole zone, and then just test it out, just kind of lift it up and see how big of a difference is. Is it a good difference? Is it a bad difference? And then decide if I want to do, these 2x4s in here or not. Okay, so I almost just fucked up again somehow. When I was looking here, I didn't realize, oh yeah, this is all the ceiling that needs to be covered up too. So I guess I'm grabbing more electrical tape and putting it going all along this edge, which is going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. Okay, so here is side number one. I decided to go with leaving the inside just how it is. But yeah, I think it is looking pretty awesome. I think it looks pretty legit awesome, because You can see each piece is kind of unique. You can see the features of the wood. You can see the different dark and light spots. You can see that this one, the grain is going down, whereas these are going to the side. And it's not too dark. I didn't want it to be too dark, so I think it came out really, really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw some electrical tape up here and go ahead and get this done. And then try to get some of the random paint spots taken care of and get out of here. I was supposed to have like a shorter day today. I said I was gonna, just take it easy and not do a whole lot, and it's like just about as late as any other day that I've been working on stuff this week anyway. But luckily it's been mostly just lighter stuff like painting and staining rather than lifting cabinets into the air and holding it there while somebody drills into the wall. So alright, so I'm meeting that tape up there, and I'm just going to do the same exact thing I did on the other side, just work my way all the way around and stain everything. Okay, so this is all done. Definitely made some mess. You can see there, some on the wall there. I'm pretty sure a couple spots along the tape and over here on the bench. So some of that I can paint over with this stuff. That I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I definitely want to somehow clean that off there. I'm not sure how to clean it off of that material. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just do the stain over the weird paint spots. And that's going to be it for the day. Just going to get cleaned up and get out of here. And tomorrow I can worry about possibly touching up some of those spots and then running the lights and whatever else I'm going to be doing. Okay, so I went to clean up some stuff like the empty stain can. I had to open up a new one. And some of the paper towels. And I took the paintbrush and just whipped it into the water with the other ones. And now it's just soaking wet. So I'm going to go ahead and just let that soak for the night. And I'll deal with that stuff tomorrow, I guess, because I don't feel like trying to stand there and just dry the crap out of it just to cover up a few spots. You can just wait till tomorrow. Alright, it is Saturday morning, so it's time to start ripping off some tape, see how everything turned out, and then start hooking up these lights finally so I can basically finish the electrical at that point. Other than just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this fan, why it keeps randomly turning off. Alright, let's get this tape off. Okay, so took the tape off. Not a whole lot of stain up here. You can see a couple spots. However, the electrical tape is not the best thing to use for these purposes because it definitely left some marks. You can see rain on the spots going all down. I'm hoping the lights themselves will cover up the majority of these. And then anything else, I'll just try to cover up the best I can with another layer of paint. It doesn't seem like it just comes right off. Seems like it's kind of just on there. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side off. I imagine there's gonna be a bunch more black spots going along here, but let's see what happens. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. So I got lights down there, and I trimmed off the excess. Now I got these lights going up here. I want these lights to go all the way up to the edge over here, so it'll match up with the one on this side. I need to get something with like a straight edge. And basically just make a line going across to make sure I'm actually going straight and not like curving one way or another. So I'm going to find some piece of wood outside and just trace that going along there. And then I'll finish putting these up and trim whatever I don't need off of it. Alright, so there are all the lights. These two, when I have it on this fade setting, and then these two are individually in sync. So basically these two, since they're attached to the same little box, and then these two, because they're attached to the same little box. I haven't found a way to make it so they're all changing the same color at the same time, but I think it still looks really cool in here, so I'll show you from down here looking out. So, yeah, I've been waiting to do this for a while. I've had these lights, so I'm really happy to have these in here, and I think it looks pretty badass right now. Okay, so now I got the lights in here. Next thing to do is the doors, because I could do this cabinet back here, but I can't do this one up here until I do these doors, and I don't have everything I need to be able to work on that cabinet yet. I'm gonna need, well, obviously the wood, but obviously I'm gonna need the things that are basically going in there, the major things, so that way I know I can have everything measured out and everything be where it needs to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on the doors. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some wood. So on here, I measured, this is from here to here is somewhere under 2 feet, and then going here down all the way to the other edge is about 4 feet. Same basic measurement for the next section, although it's a little bit taller, but it's still under that 2 foot measurement. So I'm gonna get 2 boards that are 2 foot by 4 foot. Hopefully I can find something in that measurement that's really thin, so it fits in here nicely. And basically what I'm gonna have to do, a lot of this gets covered up once it closes, so I don't want to have the board coming way out here screwing in. So what I'm gonna do is have it basically just get to the edge and then screw in at an angle going into basically here. Same thing, just kind of going all the way around. Same kind of thing over here. So I'm gonna get 4 foot by 3 foot for each of the doors back here. And same thing, you can see here, this one's closed. So there is that, you know, kind of ledge there, but most of it gets covered up once the door is closed, other than like up here, there's plenty of space. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing. Any spots that are, you know, being blocked by the door, I'll screw in at an angle. If I can screw it in just straight right on here, then why not? Yeah, so I'm going to take the leftover pink insulation stuff I have and just whip as much of that as I can fit back here, because that's really the only stuff that's left to be insulated. So I'll just stuff everything back here that I can and put those boards up. So yeah, that's the game plan for right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get over to Lowe's and see what they have in that measurement. Actually, I might real quick look it up online before I drive over there and find they don't have it and I have to drive all the way over to Home Depot. So I'll check to see what they have available. Like I said, I want something thinner. I don't want a thick, you know, 1/2 inch board like this trying to fit in here, even though there is a good amount of space in there to fit stuff, but I still would rather have it be pretty thin, like maybe like the ceiling material, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I went ahead and picked up these 2 foot by 4 foot pieces. So that would be good for up here. These two back here is 3 foot by 4 foot. So I'm going to put a 2 foot piece and then half of one of these, and then the other side another 2 foot piece and the other half of that piece to make it 3 foot. I'm also going to stuff that insulation there. But first I need to go ahead and start measuring and getting these cut to the proper size. Okay, I'm not even sure how long I've been working on this one piece, but it's just taking forever. I got it mostly fitted as far as like the edges. However, something I didn't really pay attention to when I started was this hunk of metal here, whatever the hell the purpose of this is, sticks out more than everything else. So now I am having to try to slowly cut this out. I obviously can't really like trace it when I have the wood up there because you know, the wood's covering it, so I'm just been going little by little, cutting it out. But otherwise, I have it kind of like cut going around, you know, the handle here, all that, going, you know, up along the black rubbery stuff there, you know, like right next to it. So otherwise, it's all seems to be pretty much ready to go. I just need to get that cut out, and then once I can actually get it flat, I can make sure that everything fits good and throw some screws in there, and then I'll go ahead and I guess loosen the top screws and stuff some insulation down there and put the screws back in, and I can actually start working on the next piece then. Okay, so this one is in there. I'm gonna go ahead and do a test opening and closing the door. Only thing I'm really worried about is how close this is to this I don't know, seal rubbery crap. Some of it's pretty close right up on it, so I might end up needing to trim that down, but at least now I have all the screw holes and the screws, you know, marked on the board, so if I do have to take it out, I can just pop all the screws out, you know, draw a line in it, cut it, and then when I put it back up there, boom, just put them back in the exact same spot, and everything should be working then. But let's see if I even need to do that. Yes, I definitely need to do that. That is not opening at all there. Okay, so I definitely gotta trim off that edge to even get the door open. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a line, take it back down like I said, cut that and pop it back up there, and we'll do a second test. Okay, so I'm still working on this freaking board. It's taking me forever. I think I'm almost there though. But I came in here, turned on the lights, and just realized I hooked things up wrong. I was supposed to hook up the top ones all to one thing and the bottom ones to all one thing, but instead I did like a left and right kind of thing. And then I turned both on, they both turned on, and then these just suddenly shut off. So I don't know why they shut off. Let's see, so that's for that one. Okay, so now they just turned back on. I don't know why they turned off, but there they are. So I'll see if I can reconnect these. Hopefully they're not too stuck down there. But I'm going to have to figure out what goes where on there. I might take a quick fix from that board because that's just driving me crazy, and try to figure out these lights real quick to fix that. Okay, so let's shut these off. So here's the top ones. Now those are linked, and now the bottom ones. So those are together. So that was an easy fix. Hopefully nothing's crazy going on with the wiring. Everything stays running. I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws in this thing, and hopefully this time it actually works. It's taken like all day basically on this one board. Luckily the next one should be easier, hopefully, because it's a much more straightforward shape, just a rectangle basically. Whereas this one has all kinds of crazy things to cut out and all that, so alright, let's see what happens. Okay, so finally this piece is in there. I'm gonna go ahead, grab that insulation. I think I should just need to pop out that screw and be able to stuff some down in there. And then I'll decide if I feel like doing another piece tonight or not. Okay, so it's all filled in with the insulation stuff there. So it looks kind of stupid right now because this actually, to use a longer screw, I was using 1/2 inch for most of these, other than this awkward one. But I had to switch this one out to a 1 inch because there's so much stuff in here right now. So I'm hoping that when I put this one down here, it'll match right up with it, and then it won't look as bad because it'll be covered up. I don't even know what time it is, but I think I'm going to try to at least get started on this next one. And then that way, tomorrow I guess I can work on those doors. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like jumping into this tonight, because it's not really like something you can like, there's no reason to get like halfway through it and then just pick it up tomorrow. So maybe I'll do some other stuff, go grocery shopping and stuff, and then tomorrow I'll just work on all this nonsense. Alright, it is Sunday. So last night finally figured out what was going on with the electrical. So at one point everything was shut off, the little charger thing, the lights, the fan, but the inverter, converter, whatever the hell it's called, was still working because this was all lit up over here. And even the little Bluetooth thingy that hooks up to the charge controller, that was still working. So I ended up finding out that somehow the little, let's see, there's like a nut on there where the positive wire hooks up to where all the electrical goes to basically everything. That nut somehow just came completely off. So for the past couple days or whatever, I guess it's basically been getting looser, and so that's why it would just randomly turn off and then turn back on, like the wire would move. And then last night the nut was completely off of there somehow. I don't know how it got loose, how it came off, and then the wire was completely detached, so that's why nothing had power. So I put it back on there and tightened it up, so hopefully it stays on there. I don't know why it came off in the first place, but now it's all back hooked up, and you can see fan is working and all the lights are on. And you can see the little blue lights on there, so everything is back functioning properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work on the next piece up here. Like I said yesterday, hopefully it's a little bit easier because I don't have as much stupid stuff to cut around, and get that in along with the insulation. And this door we essentially done other than just painting it at some point, and then yeah, it'll be time to do those then. And then basically all that's left at that point is the cabinets here and here, and that's pretty much it, other than just, you know, putting the fridge in, getting the mattress all chopped up and everything like that. Okay, so this one is fitting in there. I have to do the screws and then obviously test a million times over and over to try to make sure it's actually going to open. It probably won't like this because it's definitely hanging out further than this one. So I'm sure I'm going to have to trim it down at least on this side, but probably even along the top maybe. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and throw some screws in. Luckily, it hasn't taken quite as much time as this one because there's not as much junk to work around. But it's definitely still just takes forever trying to get this to fit into this weird shape with this rubbery stuff and the, you know, how it angles in and all that. But definitely getting close on this one. Okay, so surprisingly, it actually fit first try. So this screw is a little bit of pain to get in because I had to go on an angle. I didn't put in the top screw yet because I'm gonna go grab that insulation, get that in there, and then I'll screw that in, and this will be done other than just painting. Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't have to take it back down and cut it like 10 more times like the other one. Alright, so this is totally in here with the insulation in. So that is gonna wrap it up for van week number 2 here. Yeah, so next job is going to be dealing with those doors, getting them all painted, and then that way I can start doing the cabinet and all that fun stuff.